Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good afternoon, and thank you, Mandela Bay Development Agency, for inviting me here this afternoon. I feel like a fish out of the water here because I come from pre-war days. You know, I actually was born at the beginning of World War II. And things were very, very different from how they are today. The townships were very small townships, and everybody knew everybody. But what we had was community halls. It was community centers or municipal centers. And every Friday and Saturday night, there was concert and dances there, and on Sunday afternoons. So local groups developed because there was somewhere to play every weekend. And a lot of bands at that time were run by people who had day jobs. And then they bought their instruments and they rehearsed in storefronts. You know, somebody's uncle might have had a barber shop, so that's where they rehearsed. And there was only one microphone in those days for a band. There was only one microphone if there was a singer. If there was no singer, everything was without microphones and monitors. And I guess people were very focused in those days because the hall would be full, but everybody would hear without a mic. And if there was a singing group like the Manhattan Brothers or the Manhattan Stars or the Woodpeckers, they'll all have one microphone, and the accompaniment would play without microphone. But people rehearsed every day, and everybody was keen to teach. You know, everybody was keen to teach, and whenever there was a young musician that they heard about, or even an old musician who could play, they'd recruit them. So there was a very, very big circuit for performance, you know, because one weekend you could play a Friday night in a New Pride community hall, and then the next day you'd be in Tinache and play there, and maybe in the afternoon you'd play Eri. But there was those circuits, they were all over, and there were musicians all over, and bands all over, and singing groups all over. And they were also very accessible. There were no stars. You know, there were no big stars. Everybody was just an ordinary person. And most people were in it because, first of all, they had a passion for it. And there was nowhere really big to go. You know, you made it in the townships. There was no Department of Arts and Culture, you know, and there was no municipality department to go and ask for things for. And many of the groups used to promote their own shows. They used to print their own posters, and you'd have to go to the police station to have them stamped so that they were legitimate. And they'd gazette, you know, they'd put money together and hire a hall. And they'd drive around with a van with loudspeakers, you know. Next week Thursday, always, you know. And people would be talking to each other. Merry makers, cross screens, next week up, you know. And they put up posters. And every township had a few promoters, and the people worked together. And it was an era, you know, the 40s, the 50s, the 60s. The communication was fantastic because it was a community. I mean, it was just like people doing things for themselves. And I happened to like be crazy about music from when I was a little child. Of course, everybody had a gramophone. So we all had very, very, very wide repertoires. We knew the music of everybody, even though we didn't have records. And so that's how we knew the records of the bands. There were not that many bands, there were many bands in those days, but the ones that were there in each township were known in the regions. And once in a while, maybe they'd make a record. And there was, on SABC, only on Saturday mornings, there was a program called the Bantu Program. And it was from 10:30 to 11. It was half an hour. It was 30 minutes, and during those 30 minutes, they'd play like maybe 10 of the hits of that week, maybe one by the Manhattan Brothers, another one by the Jazz Maniacs, another. But it would happen, but during that time, from 10:30 to 11, the whole country would be listening to that program. And of course, word would go out on which record, and we could tell that by people rushing to the store. A record was 7 and 6 in those days, which maybe ran today. You know, maybe it ran 3 months ago. The funny thing about that time is that if a record was a hit, it was 78 RPM records. And if the record was a hit, it was very easily breakable. You know? So you could go and buy another one. But if it wasn't a hit, you could bang it on the floor, it would break. That was the style of it. I'm painting you a picture that's very different from what's happening today. You know? And maybe capture your imagination a little bit, because you know, I was away from here for 30 years, and when I came back, the scenario had changed. But even then, musicians were very close to each other. It was like 25 years ago, there were no computers. There were no cell phones. You know, so that kind of community communication was there. And of course, we were still a very intelligent society. We hadn't been dumbed down as much as we have become today. And we were not led yet to imitate other cultures as much as we do today. So like many bands were doing their own things. Bands like Bayete and Sankomota and Stimel, they were promoting their own concerts, you know, or like they'd have friends with the promoter in different places. And what I'm trying to say is that people were trying to do things for themselves. You know, they were not trying to do what is dictated to be the method. You know, because in art, really, there isn't a method. You know, the only method that like gets you there is excellence. But to get to that point, you have to work hard on your craft. So you can't go into the music business or the arts business if you want to be famous, because you'll never make it. You know, because there's no gauge for fame. You know, but if you are in it for fame or to be known or to be rich, it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. And if it happens and you get that kind of fame, it's the kind of fame that after 6 weeks, it's gone. You know, many people do that. They come and bang, bing, bang, bang, Gangnam Style, Gangnam Style. Then they're gone. So I think that what you have to define in your head is what you really want to do. You know, if you're obsessed with your craft and if you work hard at it, you have to work hard at it. You know, I've been playing the trumpet for 62 years, and I still practice every day. When I leave here, I'm going to go to the hotel and practice for at least 2 hours. Because it's noisy, I know what soft exercises to do. But if you don't practice, if you don't hone your art, you can't get anywhere. If you are in it because you love it, you know, some people take pictures with their horn and stand next to it. It's not about taking a picture, but it's like trying to find out how it works. And you will never find out how it works because it keeps unfurling and unfurling and unfurling itself. That's why, like artists, a true artists are there forever, you know, because it's coming from them, you know. It's not coming through a method. I'm just trying to give you an alternative picture from what we've heard here. What we've heard here is very helpful for today also, you know, but you have to add to it what I'm telling you. Because, I mean, I didn't know, I was listening to the brother there with in the checkered shirt and the jazz. I said, damn, Fundile the chair. This guy is really learned because I don't know how to put on, I don't even know how to switch on a computer, you know. But I have about 10 people around me who know how to do it, so I don't have to do it. But that's because I practice every day. So the picture I'm trying to, you know, is like what was before and what is today. But if you put that together, the advantages you have today, and not be as dependent as, oh, the government is not doing that. Yeah. Hey, they're not going to do shit for you. It's because they haven't heard you. They haven't heard who you are. You know, people only react to things that blow them away. Okay? And then I personally don't think that, I hope you bail money for me. I personally don't think that there are people in government who understand what the arts are about. You know, so you have to define it, you know, and you have to define it in whatever way you can, but you can't do it if you're just an individual, because individuals never go too far, and music is a group thing, it's a thing you do together. So I think one of the things that maybe I can inspire you with, try and inspire you with is that when I grew up and when we started to play, I mean, I left here when I was 21, you know, so I left when I was very young. But when I grew up in the community I grew up around, it was a mutual admiration club. You know what I mean? People really admired everybody's effort and they helped each other. They helped. It was not about Imingwe, you know, which is like the thing today. It's like, you know, I'm the bad motherfucker. You know, well, you'll be a bad motherfucker for a short period. You will be bad only for a short period because you're working alone. You know, I was helped. I couldn't be standing here before you today if I wasn't helped by many people as I went down the line. So, like, to a certain extent, humility helps. You know, instead of you have to ask, you know, I'm trying to do this, I want to do this. Why when I try to blow this? So you have to find a teacher. You can't learn a horn by yourself. As a group of people, as a community, you have to, like, attract people who can teach. You know, who can teach individuals to, like, really hone their skills. So you have to, like, and you as a development agency, maybe you can, like, figure it out. That'll be very helpful to help, because when I grew up, there were many teachers. There were many piano playing teachers in the townships, and everybody wants. Hey, I hear there's a kid here, man. He has a little trumpet. Send him to me. That's how people work, you know. So that you have to create your own music industry, you know. And then the people who, like, you're begging to help you will come to you, you know. But you'll be in control. Doesn't mean that they have to accept it, because once you accept it, they take it over. And then they, so you have to be jealous of what you have. And then if you're a musician or an artist, you have to be passionate about what you do. There's no easy way out. You know, there's an easy way out. You can have a hit. You know, you can go to the computer and do Gangnam Style, you know, and then put your voice in there. You might have a hit. But because you don't have the skill, it won't happen again. You know? And the hit does not keep you working. It's your skill. People come and listen to the joy of you playing, the joy of you performing. They don't come for that record. It might have sold 50 million, but they want to hear what else you can do. And every person has something, one of their songs, you know, I mean, I performed for 2.5 hours, and people will come, some person will come backstage and say, man, that was really nice, but you didn't play my song. You know what I mean? So you have to understand the audiences that they want a lot. So you can't get by with like 2 songs or 3 songs, you know. You have to get by through creating excellence. And to create excellence, you have to work on your skill every day. And you have to work together. And then the other thing is that you have to be honest with each other and with yourself. If somebody is not talented, you should tell them, yeah, bingo. It will help him. Because if you want to be in the industry, the music industry, you don't necessarily have to be a musician, you know. So you have to be honest with yourself. If like you are 14 years old and nobody has told you or noticed something in you, it means that it's not there. Or if it's blooming, it's taking a long time. You know what I mean? So you have to be honest with yourself, you know. But today you have great opportunities that we're not in. We used to carry our own instruments, do our own posters, and like go to the police station ourselves and go, oh, let's speak flute. You know, we used to do all that ourselves. But today, there's a formula, and there's even places where, I mean, I'm traveling with 2 people, our production head in our company, and a man who like doubles as my personal assistant, is also a road manager and band manager, and he knows every country in the world, you know, because that's it. So if he's not there, we can't get to the gig. So he's a very, very important person. The other man talks to the agencies, you know, to get us gigs, and then he puts the price and what they coordinate. And so, I mean, today there's many areas. And then we have an entertainment lawyer that we have on a retainer. He does our stuff. So you can be an entertainment lawyer. You can be a band manager. You can be a road manager. And you can do all those things if there is a road. And the band. So these things, they work together, you know, and you have to create. So you have to create this world and then create and find out how it works, you know. But by creating your own world, you will create how it works. You know, you don't have to follow, because we don't come from the same communities as somebody from like the south side of Chicago and Illinois, Michigan, you know. It's a different thing. We have to deal we have to like see what we have, you know. And we have to appeal to that. Another thing I think that is very important for you to consider is the people you come from. You know, we come from a poor people. The majority of us are poor, rural, ethnic people, you know. And they have certain things that they love that we have abandoned, because we think that if we do things that other people are doing abroad, that, you know, you know, but I mean, like here, the Eastern Cape is one of the richest, and one of the richest artistic legacies. Yeah. Mackay Dabasha came from here. The Manhattan Brothers came from here. Victor Tazamani and the Woodpeckers came from here. Welcome to Ofu and Norman Nchinga and all those people came from here. Todd Machigiza came from here. I mean, just a whole lot of writers, singers, players, with a whole lot of content. A whole lot of content that we don't even know, most of us in here don't even know one song from there. But Americans sing American songs by American composers from way back, all the way. You know, British singers, same thing. French people, they sing by French composers. You know what I mean? Our repertoire here and our anthology is there's hundreds of songs that the ordinary people like to hear. You can do them the way you want to do them today, but that's what appeals to them. So what I'm saying is that we have to go back and find out who we are through the old music that comes from here. You know, there's not only like popular music, there's choral music that was composed here by the Masizas and the Kalatas and the Taluzas and the Chamuzachas and all those. It's all there. You can find it. I'm talking about, and you can find all the old big band songs, and you can find songs by Duke Joka, by Ellen Silinga, by Welcome Duke, and all these great composers from the Eastern Cape. It's all here. And if you revive that, you have something that nobody else has. You know, the reason Salif Keita, you know, is so big, or Miriam Makeba is so big, or Lady Smith, Black Mamba, so is because they're digging from their heritage. And when they go, wherever they go, people are hearing something that they've never heard before. It's from their heritage. And that's the one thing that we have lost today. We've lost that. As a result, most of our children can't even speak IsiXhosa. There was no tag, because we think that's backward. You know, we're in a place intellectually, mentally, and psychologically where we think that our heritage is backward, is primitive, is heathen, is pagan, is barbaric, or even savage. But that's the only thing that we are. That's the only thing that we can sell. Otherwise, we're buying other people's things. People want to buy what we have. You know, so we have to go and unfurl it and uncover it and bring it out there. And that's how Bossa Nova happened. That's how Salsa happened. That's how Mbaqanga happened. That's why Maskandi is so popular. Because it's of the people. But it can be played at different levels. You know, if you look at the Nigerians today, I mean, it's very sickening to a very great extent, because they all seem like they're playing one song. But inside there, they're using like their traditional stuff. They're using traditional language. They use, you know what I mean? And they're using their traditional dances, and they're killing. They're the highest paid artists in the world today because what they went to the past. And that's the thing that I try and like tell almost everybody, even older people, you know, that if people become, they touch the world because of what they have, not what other people have. But you have to be aware of what it is, and you have to, and today you can dig it out. That man with the glasses can find it for you, because you can look at the screen and say, what did you say? But it's probably not there. But we have to like put it there. So we have to put it on online. We have to put it in the internet. But if we don't reclaim our heritage, 20 years from now, when they ask your children who they are, they're going to say, they say we used to be Africans long ago. You know, and it's going to be on you. It's already on your parents, you know, for bringing you this far. But it's going to be on you. So you have to. I formed with some friends like the Hugh Masekela Heritage Foundation. And the main aim is for us to be able to capture what I'm talking to you about today. Because if we can capture what we have, we can sell what we have. We won't have to buy anymore. Right down to furniture and clothing and household goods. Because we have our style and our own things. But we think ours is not good enough. You know? So we're going to try and imitate other people. So what I'm saying is like, you have the advantages of two very, very wealthy sources. One is like the popular global internet, but the other is your parents, if they still like adhere to what is you know, where they come from, and they're not in denial of it. And I'm sure everybody has grandparents. You know, if you have no grandparents, there are old people who are sitting there with all this information. You can go to a person and say, my surname is so-and-so. Who am I? What am I? And they might be able to tell you. But that's going to make you curious. It will open the past for you. Because without your past, you're not going anywhere. You can't go anywhere if you don't know where you're coming from. I'll make you one last example. The British people, when they had their Olympics, they went to their industrial age. And that was their opening. They showed us who they were, you know, at the beginning of the 20th century. We have that content, but we don't think it's worth our while. You know what I mean? But it is so rich. It is so rich. And the world would love to hear about it. They'd love to see us. And it doesn't mean we have to be there all the time. You know, but if you go to India, if you go to China, if you go to Malaysia, even Germany and England, they have their seasons where they say, this is who we really are. And they show off their stuff. We have it, but we think it's backward. We don't want to show it off. I mean, there is no province in South Africa where I've seen as much dancing in colorful costumes and the songs and the repertoire is endless. But the people don't even have a place to dance in, so they have to do it on a stoop or in front of a yard. But it's old heritage wealth. But the reason that Europeans are where they are is because the music of Bach and Beethoven and Mahler and Prokofiev and Tchaikovsky and Debussy and all those people from 600, 500 years ago, but they have preserved it. They don't even have to advertise. They have symphony halls all over the world. They have ballet houses and opera houses, and that's where they do their stuff. And it's always full, because it has been proven and developed over 500 years. We were here long before that. We have the same kind of content, but we're not even touching it. We're looking at other people's things. I'll just give you one last quote. I have a filmmaker friend from India who was studying at the same time in the States. He was at New York University studying film. I didn't see him until 2004. And he showed up when it was our independence 10th anniversary. They sent us all over to go and perform. I wish they'd do it all the time, you know. But they only did it then for political gains. But anyway, he came to me and he pulled me aside. He said, I don't know if you remember me, Shanmu Gumbare. I said, oh yeah, I remember. I said, what you doing? He says, I'm doing Indian classical movies. You know, not Bollywood, Indian classical movies. But I'm very worried about Africa. You know, I said, no. He said, like, we Indians, we only have two costumes. We have the sari and the pajamas. They said, but if you see movies like Monsoon Wedding and some of it, you can see how far we've taken the pajamas. And when we wear them, people respect us and they imitate our colors and everything. He said, so we only have two costumes. And he said, we only have one song. We sing it fast. We sing it slow. We sing it sad. We sing it happy. And he said, we only have one dance. And the same thing sometimes, you know, in the Bollywood movies, they put a little hippie-hoppy in it. But it's basically the same. So if you look at us, culturally, we only have two costumes, one song and one dance. But look at how we affect the whole world just with those things. And how India is, we might be poor or what, but like India is still India because of those qualities. He says, now I look at you, people from Africa. You says, we have so much variety. And they got so much diversity. But we are busy looking west. So the day you look in, you look home, and maybe you look east because we are with you, you know. But if you can just look inside, you won't have to buy anymore as much as you do. You'll begin to sell something, you know. And I don't know if that makes sense to you, but it's something that I'd like for you to go home and think about. And also, spread that kind of word around and try and find these things because that's the only thing you own, you know. And maybe with that you'll be able to get back your country because right now we're only tenants in it. You drive through and you see all this beautiful land. Oh, South Africa is beautiful. I say, yeah, but we don't know it. You know. But this they can't take away from you. You know. So if you like go after this, or put it into your art, into your music, then you'll have your identity. But maybe then people will also come and visit South Africa not only to see the animals and the geographical sites, because they'll find you. Thank you very much.